the freedom of speech trumpet an awful lot lately, but the radical left have got to a point where they're nothing more than violent zealots who will shout down all opposing views through intimidation and violence. The majority of these people, as soon as you say anything that conflicts with what they believe, they will get in your face, encourage people to attack you, try and get your employers to fire you. Sometimes they'll go after your family, or sometimes they'll just straight up assault you. Essentially, the radical left are acting the same way that Nazis acted towards communists right before Hitler rose to power. The radical left has created a gigantic circle jerk of an echo chamber where they refuse to scrutinise or refine or even put up to debate any of their own views, and anyone from the outside of this echo chamber is seen as the enemy. You could have absolutely no hatred whatsoever for people of colour, but as soon as you say something along the lines of, I just feel like immigration could be controlled a little bit better so that we can stop terrorists from coming into the country, boom, you're immediately a racist white supremacist. The terms racist, white supremacist and Nazi have been used so often and so far from their intended definition that the words have just been completely diluted and just no longer have any meaning. People still say that JonTron is a Nazi and Sargon is alt-right, even though 5 minutes of research completely proves otherwise. Being part of the radical left means that you can say whatever fucking insane shit you want, as long as it supports the radical left's views, then it's completely okay. I feel that all white people are racist devils and we should be allowed to assault and in some cases kill them. I also feel that white people should pay reparations to all black people for something their ancestors may or may not have done. So inspiring. But if you even so much as dare to say anything along the lines of, there are only two genders, find out where he lives and kill his fucking family. I did actually have a person on Twitter saying that I should pay reparations. For what? My ancestors raised sheep. Do I owe the sheep reparations? Do I owe sheep money? Let's look at UC Davis, a university, a place that's supposed to be the epicentre of discussing ideas and opinions. The purpose of these further education establishments is to create critically thinking, innovative people that can go out into society and use those skills to overall benefit and improve society. Except universities have completely stopped doing that. Universities now push a radical leftist agenda, and any student that dares stray away from their ideology are very often actually shunned and abused verbally while on campus. Even lecturers who disagree with these ideologies often find themselves receiving verbal abuse from usually students or even their fellow alumni. Such is the case of Jordan B. Peterson, who's actually being attacked by his fellow alumni because he refuses to use gender-neutral pronouns. The man is actually being attacked because he refuses to use invented terms to address these invented genders, because feelings. Milo Yiannopoulos and Martin Shkreli wanted to give a talk at UC Davis, a university, a place for discussing ideas and opinions, but the radical left don't like alternative ideas and opinions, so they sought to stop it. They sought to stop two men coming and discussing ideas at a university. How fucking dare they? The protesters acted the way we expected them to act, like violent thugs, setting fires, smashing stuff up, wrecking things, and even just straight up assaulting people. It did show a good example of a technique that the left use. No Milo! No KKK! No Fascists USA! We all know that Milo isn't a member of the KKK. This is a technique that the left use where if they want everyone to feel the same way as they do about their enemy, they'll spread a bunch of lies about them in order to influence everyone's opinions to get on their side. Which is propaganda. That's literally propaganda. Lying to a large number of people so that they feel the same way about your enemy is literally propaganda. I'm also fairly sure that if Milo was a member of the KKK, they might take offence to the fact that he has very publicly stated that he straight up loves black dick. Before I go into Martin Shkreli, yeah, me and Martin Shkreli have had beef in the past and he actually blocked me on Twitter before his Twitter account got suspended, but I'm still going to defend the guy here. Martin Shkreli actually said on film that he actually feels that Milo Yiannopoulos is wrong about feminism and he wanted to debate him on the subject.
gonna tear Milo to shreds about, he doesn't understand feminism. He's unprepared to confront reality that women are underrepresented in government and women are underrepresented in pay gaps and things like that.
But the lefties did their usual ad hominem, where if there's anything about your character they can attack, such as increasing the prices of drugs, or buying a Wu-Tang album and not sharing it with anyone, or committing the sinful act of being friends with Milo Yiannopoulos, that immediately makes all your opinions irrelevant.
You're about being a fucking cocksucker who raises drug prices for cancer patients, you fucking piece of shit!
There is an exception to this though. If you absolutely 100% agree with and support the radical left, then no matter what has happened in your history, you're accepted as one of them. Even if you're a cop killer on the run from the law. Now, the event got shut down, so the radical left won that night. They made sure that their echo chamber remained intact so that they can all sit inside it and circle jerk over their absolutely totalitarian ideology, relishing in the fact that they put another nail in the coffin for free speech, and you would think that that would be the worst thing that they could do, but that was right up until UC Berkeley. UC Berkeley was one of the worst attacks on free speech that we've ever seen, and was one of the most violent attacks ever so far by the radicals. The university that was actually the home of the free speech movement is now no longer being considered that. It's now seen as an enemy of free speech. Its heritage has been completely tarnished. Milo Yiannopoulos was due to give a talk. The radicals did what they usually do again. How dare this man have an opinion? So they all turned up and lit fires, threw bricks, threw fireworks at the building, trying to set it on fire. Sensible stuff. There were assaults en masse against people that the radicals have deemed the enemy. There was even a girl who got pepper sprayed when she wasn't even doing anything.
Ma'am?
People were beaten over the head with flagpoles, and there was a man who was actually beaten unconscious, and even while he was unconscious they still continued to beat him with poles. I'm going to assume that a lot of the radicals didn't even know why they were beating him. They just heard people shouting, "Get him, get him." We don't know why we beat a man into a coma. We just heard people shouting, "Get him, get him." So we got him. We were just following orders. These people weren't Nazis. They weren't calling for genocide. They weren't calling for America to be an all-white ethno-state. Most of them were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. All they did was either they disagreed with the radicals and that's what got them assaulted, or the radicals just had a look at them and just decided to have some fun. Because of this, the entire event had to be cancelled and Milo was escorted off the premises for his own safety. What we can see here is that as far as the discussion, promotion, creation and debate of opinions, ideas and ideologies, we can, the primary things that universities have used for hundreds of years to create critically thinking and innovative individuals, universities have just completely abandoned that purpose. And it looks like it's not going to come back. Just because people don't want to have their feelings hurt. The reason that the radical left are doing this is based on their favourite saying of free speech doesn't mean hate speech. Actually, it kinda does. Free speech is an absolute. As soon as you add any kind of rule or regulation on top of that, then that means it's not free speech, so you can't call it free speech. This is what you're asking for. You want rules and regulations on speech. This means you are anti-free speech. See, if you actually listen to a lot of the stuff that Milo says, it's not actually that bad. I don't recall Milo going up on stage saying he absolutely hates black people and he wants the Holocaust to happen again. I've never ever heard him say anything like that, despite whatever everyone tells you. Also, you don't just get to decide what hate speech is. There is a set definition for it, but it seems to be elasticated and applied to so many different things. Funnily enough, it's always the things that you don't agree with. It's never, any of the horrible shit you say, like fuck white people. The radical left want speech to have rules and regulations. They want people to be beaten for their opinion. They want people to lose their jobs over their opinion. And they absolutely want to see people being arrested for their opinion. The radical left are absolute enemies of free speech, and there is no argument that they can provide that says that they aren't. The radical left do not want you to have free speech unless you agree with them. And that is honestly the most fascist and totalitarian thing that I can think of. Loyalty to the party, or it's gulag time, you little cunt. Remove the right-wing element from the definition of fascism and these guys pretty much meet all of the criteria. The radical left are quickly becoming the modern day Nazis. You're attacking people for their opinions just like the Nazis. You're destroying free speech just like the Nazis. You're even calling for attacks and also the deaths of people just because they aren't the type of person that you want them to be. Just like the Nazis. The radical left don't want to reason with you. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to hear anything that doesn't reaffirm what they already believe. They want you to share their opinion, and they'll make you share it by force if they have to. They are some of the biggest hypocrites where they say that they're trying to fight for equality even though they're only fighting for their side. They want equality, free speech and all the good things for themselves, and everyone else who disagrees with them can go fuck themselves. The exact same people that praise and quote George Orwell are trying to bring in the exact same type of government that he tried to warn us about. I did a little bit of a thought experiment on Twitter, and yeah, this thought experiment is plagued with problems and it doesn't actually really prove anything, but just take it as food for thought. I gave people two scenarios. In both scenarios, you have a gun. In one scenario, you're in a room with another man who has a gun, and in another scenario, you're in a room with a rabid dog. I asked people what they would do in each situation and what situation they would rather be in. A lot of people said that they would rather be in the situation with the man with the gun. When I asked them why, a lot of them said, because you can reason with a man with a gun. When I asked what they would do with the dog, they said that they would just immediately kill the dog. When I asked them why, they said, well, there's no talking to a dog, you can't reason a dog. That dog has given you absolutely no option but to kill it. It's the only way that you can protect your own safety. The point I was trying to get at is basically if you are seen as a threat to a person's personal safety and freedoms and you totally refuse to allow yourself to be reasoned with, then people will stop trying to reason with you and instead they will try to destroy you. You're going after people's freedom of speech, their livelihood, their families, their careers, sometimes actually their own physical safety by beating them up with fucking flagpoles. If you keep that up and refuse to be reasoned with, then instead people are just going to seek to destroy you. Again, that's totally not an absolute undeniable evidence, foolproof thought experiment. I just sort of made it to get an idea of how people would approach such a problem. Also, thanks to everyone that actually took the question seriously and didn't send me a bunch of bullshit answers such as I would shove the gun up my ass, I would shoot the man and have sex with the body, I would have sex with the dog then shoot the dog, I would use the gun to shoot myself, I would shove the gun up the man's ass, I would shove the gun up my ass, I would shove the dog up my ass, I would shove the dog up the man's ass. I would shove my hand up the dog's ass, then shove the dog up the man's ass, then shove the man up my ass, and then use both guns to kill myself. Thank you for your input. There's even a petition going around that has a lot of signatures that are trying to get Antifa classed as a terrorist organisation. And in my idea, they deserve it because that's exactly what they've become. Antifa, you can turn around and say, oh, but we're fighting Nazis. No, you aren't. No, you fucking aren't. Just because you call a person a Nazi doesn't mean it's okay to start assaulting them. All of the people that you're calling Nazis are nothing like fucking Nazis. A lot of the people that you've been attacking are guilty of simply having a different opinion from you, and most of the time that opinion isn't even remotely fucking racist. You yourselves assault people, attack people, try and get websites and YouTube videos taken down, you try to silence people, you burn down shops, and for some reason you seem to have a deep problem involving bins. And even if, on the rare occasion, that person does turn out to be a Nazi or a KKK member, I've said this once and I'll say it again. Crime is crime, cunt. You are committing crime, so you don't get to cry when the police arrest you, you don't get to cry when the government comes after your movement. You did this to yourselves. Every single move that the left makes is completely hypocritical and counterproductive. Even you guys going after Milo Yiannopoulos' book is only making it more popular. And even getting people banned from Twitter is only making people more and more interested in what these banned people have to say. You are becoming more and more like a modern day Spanish Inquisition. Believe what we believe, or will fucking hurt you. And that's only reinforced by the fact that you guys completely refuse to listen to anyone. You won't put your ideas up for discussion, you won't have debates, you'll turn up in the streets with pepper spray and weapons and set fires and assault people. And yet you complain that no one's listening to you. And all while you guys are completely self-destructing, the alt-right are gaining more and more support. While you guys are running around in the streets fucking beating up bins and people, the alt-right look like the noble freedom-loving movement that we've all been fucking waiting for. I speak to people on both sides of the spectrum. The difference is me and the alt-right treat each other amicably, in a sense that we'll have discussions and we'll try and keep them as friendly as possible, despite the fact that we both disagree with each other very, very much. But if I try and disagree with anyone on the far left, they either insult me, attack me, block me, or a combination of the three. Also, and I can't believe that I actually have to say this out loud because for some reason people aren't getting the picture. Fuck the alt-right. I don't like the alt-right. I don't like any of that fucking bullshit about how apparently black people are genetically inferior and we have this pseudoscience to back it up. I don't think anywhere should be turned into an all-white ethno-state, and also fuck Richard Spencer and fuck his stupid fucking haircut and his stupid fucking opinions. Fuck the alt-right. But despite the fact that I say things like that about the alt-right, I say it directly to them, but we're still open to having a discussion with each other. You can't say the same about the left. So when it comes to actual political discourse and debate and listening to each other, the alt-right do it much, much better than you, which means people are more likely to listen to them. And if that doesn't have you shitting your pants, then either you're thick as fuck or you're not paying attention. To everyone on the far left, if you want your movement to be taken seriously again, then you have to completely denounce and distance yourself from Antifa, the Black Bloc, and all those other anarcho-communist faggots. They are damaging your overall movement, and every single violent thing that they do is just another nail in the coffin for your movement. Most importantly of all, you have to allow yourselves to be reasoned with. You can't just do a Steve Shives and ignore every single person that disagrees with you. You have to put your ideas and ideologies up for debate and discussion. See, if you can't do that, it means your entire ideology is weak as fuck. See, in a few years when your own actions actually get alt-right members elected to government positions, I will make an I told you so video, and I will make sure that it's a smug as fuck I told you so video. It's up to you whether or not I have that chance. At the end of the day, people have different opinions, and you just need to deal with that. I'm not going to put up with you guys assaulting people, burning down buildings and restricting people's right to free speech just because you're worried about the things they say are going to hurt your feelings. Fuck your feelings. I don't give a fuck about your fucking feelings. What I do care about is individual liberty, public safety, and people not being beaten into a fucking coma just because they disagree with you.
It's called free speech. You communist faggot.